Welcome to the e-commerce Badassery podcast, the place for scrappy female entrepreneurs who want to learn actionable steps and strategies to grow the traffic, sales, and profit in your e-commerce business. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster, a 20-year retail veteran who spent 3 years as the only employee of a 7-figure online store. That shit was crazy. I know exactly how it feels to do all the things, and I'm sharing everything I learned the hard way so you don't have to. I may have started this business by accident, but supporting badass bosses like you lights me the fuck up, and I am so stoked to see you grow. Are you ready, babe? Let's roll. Welcome back to the e-commerce Badassery podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been seeing a lot of new people finding the podcast, and it for real just makes my heart so happy. And to my OGs, welcome back. Now, I know you ladies are all trying to squeeze out those last days of summer, and I hate to break it to you, but it's time to start planning for holiday. Yep, I said it, and this year, 2020, is going to be an especially important year to get ahead and start planning. Now, before you completely tune out because you're thinking, shit, I can't even wrap my head around holiday right now, I want you to think back to the beginning of the pandemic. If you were one of those businesses that saw an increase when brick and mortar was shut down, you might see a similar one for holiday. How much nicer would it have been if you were prepared ahead of time? When you're going into your holiday planning, I want you to keep these things in mind. 1, people are not going to be packed into stores on Black Friday weekend like years past. 2, lots of big stores are not opening on Thanksgiving night. 3, with shipping being completely jacked up and everything taking longer to arrive, people are going to be shopping early. And 4, every big retailer is likely to have larger sales than they have before to try and make up for what they lost earlier in the year. This holiday season is going to be like anything you've ever seen before, and I want you to be prepared. Plus, a lot of the concepts I'm going to share can be easily adapted to your overall e-commerce strategy and for other holidays and promotions you do throughout the year. So here's how this is going to roll. Over the next 3 episodes, we're going to talk about the 3 P's of the holiday season: plan, prep, and promote. We'll touch on all the things you should be thinking about, and there's a free checklist you can download at ecommercebadassery.com/22. If you're ready to go all in on your holiday planning and have the most kick-ass season ever, then you're going to want to get your hands on the e-commerce Badassery holiday planning ebook. I go much deeper into all the things we're going to talk about here in these episodes and then some. And you can get it right now on my website for only $47. It's seriously a fucking steal and comes with accompanying video trainings and templates to support you in all of your holiday season planning. So go to ecommercebadassery.com/holiday guide to get yours, and the link for that will of course be in the show notes. Okay, so episode 1 of the holiday campaign series, we're talking planning. Now, the first step in any good campaign plan is to reflect on your performance from the last time around. And that's where my campaign recap or post-mortem process comes in handy. If you're not already familiar with that, go listen to episode 11 where I walk you through it. At a high level, it's just a document where you collect all the important information from a campaign, including your overall KPIs, any promotions you ran and their results, along with what did and didn't work well during that time. Having this campaign recap is so key because there's no way you can remember all the things. So when you have this document that lays everything out that you learned from your last holiday season or your most recent campaign, it's going to make it so much easier to rinse and repeat what worked and avoid any big screw-ups. It's simple but powerful, and I promise it will totally save your ass when you're doing them regularly. Once you've got all that information together, you can start plotting out all the important dates on a calendar. A few highlights here are the Cyber 5, Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday, and Free Shipping Day, which is on December 14th. We'll talk more about what to do around all of these important dates in the last episode of the series, but just get them on a calendar now so you can start visualizing it. Don't forget to consider your own holiday plans and when you might not be able to be fully in the business. Maybe you are a lucky one and have a vacation planned, or there's holiday parties to attend, or you just want to set aside time to step away from the business and be fully engaged with your family. You may need to invest in some extra help during these times. You might even have to cut off your holiday shipping a little bit earlier if you're not going to be around, or maybe you just need to have some contingency plans in place. But it's important to note all of those dates on a calendar so you can start filling in your plan around them. Typically, November 1st is the unofficial kickoff of the holiday season for most retailers. Now, of course, we know that Nordstrom never sets holiday until after Thanksgiving, and maybe that's traditionally what you do too. And hey, you do you, babe. But I bet people will be starting earlier than usual this year to get people in the spirit and capture as much revenue during this time as possible. Plus, being an online business, your holiday season naturally ends earlier than a brick and mortar store because of shipping cutoffs, and you've got shipping delays to contend with as well because of COVID. So get these dates on the calendar and start reverse engineering when you need to get started on things and create some milestones along the way. So for instance, if you're going to have holiday specific merchandise and you want it in stock and available on your website November 1st, start mapping out the steps for making that happen. Consider how long it takes you to get the items listed on your site, get the photos taken, what's the lead time from the manufacturer, how long will it take you to create if you're a handmade business, and don't forget any promotional material you might want to create for email and social media. Are you going to run ads specifically for these products and have to set up new campaigns for them? And don't forget to leave an extra buffer for shipping delays and all the other sort of weird shit that can happen because Murphy's Law is a bitch. Side note, rinse and repeat the reverse engineering process for everything. Not only just your holiday campaign, but your entire business. Having a goal in mind is the first step to success, and creating deadlines and milestones helps to keep not only yourself, but your entire team on track. Okay, so steps 1 and 2 of the planning process are your campaign postmortem from last year and plotting out all the important dates. The last step is your inventory and merchandising, and it's one of the most important. If you get this wrong, you could end up missing your sales goals or being stuck with excess inventory you can't move. So start with figuring out how much inventory you have and what you already have on order. Is that in line with your sales projections? So for instance, if your projections say you're going to do $30,000 in revenue during the season, but you're only going to have $15,000 in inventory at retail, well, that math just doesn't work. Of course, you want to be cautious here and not go overboard, but make sure you consider potential difficulties of replenishing your best sellers if you do run out, and the lead time it takes for you to get inventory in hand. When it comes to projecting your numbers, there are a lot of variables at play here. So you really have to dig into your specific numbers. But aside from considering just the increase you saw last year during holiday, make sure you take into consideration what this year looks like. A lot can change in a year of your business. You're much more established now. Maybe you've started to see a lot of success with ads. You have a better email marketing strategy, I hope, after listening to the podcast, and have a lot more tools under your belt in terms of how to actually execute a campaign and have the capacity to do even better than you ever have before. Additionally, rumor has it that Amazon Prime Day is happening in October this year. And many e-commerce retailers see an overall lift around this event, even if you aren't selling on Amazon. So you may want to do your own version of Prime Day, and you'll need to consider what current stock you have right now that you're going to sell through during that time that you're going to have to replenish before holiday. You'll also want to consider your product and how it fits into today's landscape. It's possible your product will be more in demand this year than it was last year. It's very possible customers will be focused more on experiences and sensory items than electronics, for instance. And there's likely to be an even bigger push toward buying from small businesses versus big box retailers. If you are bringing on seasonal items, make sure you aim to sell out of them by the time your ground shipping cutoff comes around. So if the last day to ship ground and get the order to your customer by, say, December 23rd is December 14th, then you'll want to focus on selling through those items by that date. Forecasting for new items can be difficult because you don't have any sales history, but past trends can help you make smart decisions. If you've had seasonal items in the past, look at that data first. How long did it take for your customers to latch on and start buying these products? Was there a spike in the very beginning and then it trailed off? Or did it take a while for people to get interested at all? Assuming all of your promotional efforts are exactly the same, those past seasonal product performance trends will be a good indicator here. And have a plan to move through your inventory if sales are slower than you anticipate. You don't want to wait until after Christmas to mark down your items. But there are a few different techniques you can try to help you move through those items before you have to take a hard markdown. Product bundles are a great option here, and if you have a particularly slow mover, try bundling it with your best-selling items. If you do have a total dog that just isn't moving at all, mark it down before your shipping cutoff. Your customers are generally going to qualify your items quickly, so don't get emotionally attached to anything. And your initial markdown will always be the cheapest. I know it hurts to mark down things, but it's worth more out the door than it is collecting dust on your shelves. So let's talk about site merchandising. Visual merchandising is just as important online as it is in brick and mortar. Maybe even more important because you don't have a salesperson to pull something off the shelf and put it in front of the customer, right? So make sure you have your holiday items front and center and move them to the top of your collections. If you're using Shopify merchandising, just the standard out-of-the-box solution, make sure you go into the collections and manually adjust the product assortment. If you have it defaulting to best sellers, your new and holiday items may not get enough visibility. You'll want to link to any holiday-specific items in your navigation as well. And adding a gift guide is a great way to get the necessary items in front of your customers. We'll talk more about creating gift guides in another episode, but I want you to think about what it's like when you go shopping in a brick and mortar store. Usually you see all the holiday items grouped together either within their own departments or right at the front of the store. How you set this up on your site is going to depend on your business and product assortment, but the goal is always the same. The holiday season is a small window of opportunity to make big bucks in your business. So don't put this off. Start planning now. Snag the e-commerce Badassery holiday planning guide. It's such a steal at $47, and it's in-depth enough that you can come back to it and implement new strategies as your business grows. So head to ecommercebadassery.com/holiday guide to get yours and lock in lifetime access. I'll be updating this baby each year, and the price will likely go up with that newly added content. So get in on the ground floor, darling. Tune in next week for the next step in your holiday planning. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, I'd be so grateful if you'd leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're looking to surround yourself with more product entrepreneurs who totally get your life right now, get your booty on over to the E-commerce Badassery Facebook group. Can't wait to see you there. Until next time, e-commerce friends, stay badass.